Hello programmers. Today I will explain what is index using Python examples. I believe you will get a good understanding of index and its uses in Python after watching this video. In simple terms, index is the position of an element in a collection of ordered elements. Index has a big role when we perform operations on sequences based on the position of the elements. Let's make it clear with some examples. The concept of index is valid for any ordered Python data type. I will use a list and a string in this video as my inputs for the examples, and also I will use a set, which is not an ordered data type, so we can see how indexing works with sets. First, let's look at the index of elements in the list using the list.index method. Here I have the list.index method, and what this line means is return the index of number 1 in the numbers list. Let's run this and see what happens. First I will run these three and then get the index of 1. So you can see the index of 1 is 0. It's because Python considers the position of the first item of a list as 0. So the index of the second element should be 1. That is correct. So the index in the list continues as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. Let's see what is the value of number 10. That is 7. If you count from the beginning, you will see that the index of 10 should be 7, which is expected. So that is how you find the index of an element in a list. Let's see how we can find the value of an element using its index. So we can write it like this: print numbers, and we can check what is the value in the position of 0, which refers to the index of 0. And we can see in the index of 0 we have the value 1. Now I can print -1 here, and then you see number 10. Number 10 is this one. So in Python, index of the last item in a list is -1. So if you check value of -2 in the list, you will see 9, which is the second value. So this is something important to know when you are coding, because in some scenarios you don't know the length of a list. So in that case, if you need to get the last value of a list, or maybe second or third value from the end of a list, you can use this notation. One more point to mention about list indices. This is a nested list within our main list. If you need to access these elements, you can call it like this: print first the numbers list, and then it is in 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we will print 4 to access this list, and then we can access 6 by getting its index, which is 1 within that nested list. There you go. So that is how you use list.index method. Let's work with this string. So for string, we have another method called string.index. So I will get the name of the string as name and then index. So using this method, we can find the index of a character. Let's find the index of this capital M at the beginning. Let's run this one, and you can see the index is 0, which is the first letter of the string, and 0 is the expected index value. Then we have this letter T in multiple places. Let's check what is the index of T. So even though we have multiple T's in our string, we get 4, which is the first occurrence of that letter. So how can you get the index of the second occurrence of this letter T? In that case, we can provide a start value here. So you can see this. We have to provide the string, start and end. So I will just provide the index of start as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I will provide 5 or 6, doesn't matter. I will provide 5, and then we can see it is 12. So 12 is the index of this T. Similar to lists, you can access the elements in a string using the index value. So you can use like print name, and if you provide -1, we will get this last T, which is the last letter of this sentence. Similarly, if you use -3, you will see this E as the letter that we find in the index of -3 in this name string. Suppose you need to find the indices of all the elements in our numbers list. So how can we do that? We can use enumerate function for that. So I will write a for loop like this: for position and element in enumerate. The object that we enumerate should be the numbers list. Print position and the element. So here is the output. What this enumerate function does is it creates an enumerate object using our numbers list. So the enumerate object consists of the position and the element for each of these elements. So this enumerate object returns 2 values. For each pair of those values are assigned to position and element variables, and for loop printed each of the pair of those values in this list. So we can see in the first position it is 1, in the fourth position we see the list, and so on. Next, I will show you a couple of errors that you will encounter when you work with index. First, let's say you are trying to access an element in an index that is not present in the numbers list. So I will type print numbers, and we have only indices up to 7. I will type 10 and see what is the result. So we get an index error. So what happens here is Python tries to get the element in this numbers list which has the index of 10, but we have values only up to the index of 7. So Python throws this error. Next, we will check this list.index method, and I will try to find the index of a value that is not present in this numbers list. I will type 20 and run that, and then we get a value error. Python simply says that the value of 20 is not in our list. These are 2 different errors that we get from Python for 2 different reasons. Now let's try to access elements in our unordered collection, which is set, and see what happens. So I will get this numbers set and try to access the first element of the set, and we get this type error. So the type error says this set object is not subscriptable because it is not an ordered data type. So this does not work with indices. Suppose that you are in a situation that you need to get the position of one or more elements in a set. You can convert it to a list, and then you can get the position. So you can simply write print, then you can convert it to a list. That is not correct because we have to change these parentheses. So first you convert the number set to a list, and then you can print the first element in that list. Let's run this one, and you get 11, which is the first element in this set. So that is how you can find the position of an element in a set. This is it for this video. I hope you understood very well about index in Python. Once you have good understanding about index and the uses of it, then you can move to understand concepts like slicing. So in the next video, we will talk about that. Thank you and happy learning.